So welcome back to a brand new episode of Walkin and Talkin with Tim. So my guest today is the one and only Brian Barry from Catholic Partnership Schools. Now he is the Director of Development at Catholic Partnership Schools, and I'm going to let Brian start off and kind of give you a little rundown on what exactly that means.
Thanks, Tim. So Catholic Partnership Schools, let's tell you what that is real quick. We're a management organization that oversees 5 campuses in Camden. So the campuses are comprised of elementary schools at 4 campuses and then a preschool or pre-K at the other campus, the community learning campus. And my job as Director of Development is all outward-facing type of activity. So community relations, business development, fundraising, event planning.
A lot of fundraising.
A lot of fundraising. And speaking of fundraising, we do have an event that this guy's hosting on April 7th. It's called our Spotlight Awards, and we're honoring Joe and Kitty Del Duca. So Joe Del Duca, he's been a great supporter of our organization. And Tim has graciously accepted the honor of emceeing the event. So we'd love to see you there. Yeah, so, that's basically it. I'm out there, out in the public, trying to tell people about who we are and generate interest and awareness and dollars for CPS.
So you guys have how many different schools do you have?
So we have 5 campuses, 4 schools, and then we have a community learning campus that has our pre-K as well.
That's a lot, right? How many students?
We have just under 900.
And how long have you been doing this?
I am in my 5th year here.
Right, and you got to raise a lot of money every year to keep this whole thing rolling, right?
Yeah, about $4 million.
Oh my God. It's so much. You say that and it just
Did you bring your checkbook?
Oh, yeah, exactly. It says how do you raise that much money every single year?
Yeah, well, it's a lot, but it's also great people, right? There's a lot of people that support the organization, have done it year in and year out, and then that accounts for probably about $2.7 million, and then the other $1.5 million or so we have to go out and fundraise, right? So through events and different types of endeavors, annual appeals and different things like that, major gifts, grants, things like that.
Nice. So in walking around, you guys all know that I ask lots of questions. I asked Brian a ton of questions. So Brian, him and his whole family are from South Philly. So actually, I think my last guest was actually from South Philly too. So anyway, Brian grew up in South Philly, not too far from the stadium, really, right?
Yeah. Yep. So
how many brothers and sisters?
There was 4 of us. Yep, 2 brothers and a sister.
So what was it like growing up in South Philly for you? How did you like it?
6 people in a 1,200 square foot row house. You got to know each other. You got to hear what your neighbors were saying and the fights that they were having. But it was interesting. There was a lot of laughing, a lot of great memories.
Stickball?
Half ball, stickball, yeah, courts and shorts, different things like that. But we, like I said, I was telling Tim, my father never let grass grow under our feet, right? He kept us busy, whether it was playing a musical instrument, playing sports, being involved in nonprofits. There was always something going on. So there's a lot of great memories, a lot of great traditions growing up in South Philly.
So you are a big fan of music.
I am.
We talked about that too, and you're a big fan of country music.
Absolutely.
So that said, top 3 country artists.
This is going to be unpopular opinion. So Old Dominion is absolutely my number 1 favorite. Kenny Chesney is absolutely up there. And then probably Eric Church, and I told Tim a funny story about Eric Church earlier. He has a definite connection to our family and our
so let's roll right into that. So Brian and his wife adopted your daughter a few years back, right?
Yep.
And it's a great story. But you might as well tell that story because it's a great story.
Sure. So you want me to tell the whole story? I'll tell the abridged version. The abridged version.
The Reader's
of the story.
Digest version.
So my wife and I, we were foster parents. We had gone through the whole fertility treatment program unsuccessfully, and I'll share that story. And we then we took a break, and then we decided to become foster parents with the opportunity to adopt. So foster to adopt was the idea.
Right.
And we actually had a child come stay with us prior to Maddie, and then she left on the very same day that Madison arrived, which happened to be January 25th of 2017.
Which was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking to see the one baby go. It was exciting to see the other baby Madison arrive.
I mean, the flow of emotions had to be insanity, right?
It was up and down, and there was a whole lot going on there. It was definitely heartbreaking. There is a little caveat to that, because prior to all of that going on, I'd won tickets to go see Eric Church. So my friend Ken and I went to go see Eric Church on January 25th, and Madison came to our house that day. So I was out watching Chief at the Wells Fargo Center, and my wife was pacing around the house with a baby that cried for the better part of about the first 3 weeks that she was in the house. And
your poor wife.
Yeah, my poor wife, absolutely. She held it down, and we call it the Maddie Loop. It was born that day, and it's even to this day, Madison pushes her babies through our house. It's a giant figure 8 through our house. We call it the Maddie Loop, to calm her down. And I bet we walked 100 miles inside of our house on that loop.
Well, anybody that knows you loves watching your videos about Maddie in general, because you're hysterical. So that said, too, also you talked about a fundraiser, a nonprofit that you're pretty fond of with relation to that. So
yeah, Foster the Child, that's an organization that we had come upon a couple years ago. My wife had found it, and actually we just lost my father-in-law a couple weeks ago, and in lieu of flowers, we asked people to make a gift to Foster the Child, because that organization actually helps foster kids that are coming to houses. So most foster kids arrive at a house with a trash bag, with all their worldly belongings in it.
Crazy.
It's heartbreaking, right? And no kid deserves that. And this organization tries to help change that.
So other than that, you had also said that you were on the board swim club.
Woodbine, yep.
Woodbine, so that's kind of a big deal, because I see you posting lots of videos with Maddie swimming, so that's kind of a big part of your life, right?
Absolutely. Maddie is a baby giraffe on ice walking around the house, but she is an absolute fish in the water. So she loves being in the pool, and we love having her in the pool. And Woodbine, actually a funny story, Woodbine, the way that I found Woodbine, it's literally right down the street from my house, and I knew it was there. We knew it was there for years. My wife had grown up going to swim clubs. A couple of years ago, she had major foot surgery and was in bed for 10 weeks, like foot reconstructive surgery, foot up, couldn't move, the whole thing. And I'm like, I have a 2-year-old. What am I going to do? And I'm driving down the street, and I'm like, a swim club. I pull in, I see that they have a little kid pool, and I didn't even ask how much it was. I said, I just need to join, and that's it. And the rest is history. We've been members for the last 3 years, and we'll continue to do it until the day that she doesn't want to do it anymore.
And you also said your favorite thing to do is getting to pick Maddie up every day if you can, and just ask her that one question, which is,
what did you have fun doing today? What was your favorite part of today?
Your favorite part of today, which is awesome, because you get to have that experience. You get to live through her eyes every day, And having said that, we had this long talk about, first of all, where you like to vacation.
Disney.
I'm a Disney head. He's a Disney head. So it's awesome. If you really like Disney, you really like it. If you don't, then I'm sorry. So, having said that, you were just talking about your last trip to Disney was your favorite because
we got to see Disney through her eyes, through a 5-year-old's eyes, and it was just absolutely incredible. Right. Nothing like it.
There's absolutely nothing like it in the world, because it's not just that; it creates tradition.
Yep.
You're living tradition.
Yep.
It's and you can do that anywhere. I'm sure people have lots of fun places to go on vacation that they have all kinds of great traditions, but Disney's just a very unique place to do it, right? I just dig it. I just have fun there. It's just you get there, that music, you just kind of turn into not a zombie, but you're like, everything's fine.
Yeah, and like I said to you earlier, I think beyond Disney and the experience and the whole social component of that and people watching is the ability for that to transcend generations. So, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law loved going to Disney. My mom loves going to Disney. So 70 and 80-year-olds can have a conversation with a 5-year-old about the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
priceless.
It really is, and it just means so much, the whole Disney component to what we do. This isn't a commercial for Disney. It's just a great opportunity for us to come together. And now the Encanto soundtrack is on a full loop in my car.
So if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
They can find me on LinkedIn. bbarry94 is the handle on LinkedIn. They can email me at bbarry@cspschools.org, or you can hit Tim up and he can get in touch with me.
There you go. Well, thanks for watching today. Thanks for being on, brother.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. And keep on moving, keep on walking, and we will see you next time on Walkin' and Talkin' with Tim.